Real.
Welcome to Straight Real, where I give it to you straight. I'm your host, King J. So, I'm sure a lot of people know about Terance Crutcher, yet another unarmed black man killed by the police. As we can see, it's definitely open season on young black males nowadays. And maybe I didn't get the memo, maybe I missed something. But when did we start killing niggas on camera now? Like it's okay. When did it become okay to just start shooting niggas on camera and having the whole world watch? I mean, this is embarrassing for a country. The police department and a lot of our politicians and leaders and people around the country need to realize that the world sees this stuff now. This stuff is not hidden anymore. The whole globe is watching this stuff. And I think the main thing that people internationally are saying all over the world is, how dare America? How dare America come to our country and tell us that we need to treat our people better and that we need to exercise democracy when they don't even exercise it in their own country? When they talk about other countries or other third world countries having free elections and voting their leaders in and equality and rights for all people, America hasn't even got to that point yet. As a matter of fact, blacks just got the right to vote 50 years ago, so I don't think we are in a position to tell other people how they should run their country. But anyway, this is what's going on though. This is the issue of the day, and it seems to be almost every other day or every week, as far as I can tell, because it's a pattern and it's still going on and on and on every single day. So when I saw that video, I just think that my main concern is we're going to get numb to this stuff and we're going to get immune to it. And I'll never get immune to it. I'll never get used to seeing young black men shot to death on camera, bleeding out until they pass away. This is, really just horror movie type stuff you never imagined. I mean, I never thought in a million years that we will be watching the news and seeing people get killed in cold blood on the news by the police, by the people we pay with our tax dollars, or the people who we pay to protect and serve us, or who take an oath to protect and serve us. But I think that whole slogan, protect and serve, has been reduced to just a slogan because the police certainly don't practice that from where I can see. Now, the details of this incident, of course, is Mr. Crutcher's car broke down and he was parked in the middle of the street. And for some reason, the police have been following him. I mean, on the video, you can see the dash cam where they had been following him. I guess his car was about to break down and he ended up stopping in the middle of the street. He gets out of the car and it's like 4 police officers with their guns drawn, and they're walking up to him and they tase him. The next thing you know, you hear shots fired and he's down on the ground. You see him bleeding, you see him bleed to death, and you see him die. And the problem I see with this is that people are going to start associating young black males with death as if they're not already stereotyping us and associating us with drugs and violence and poverty and everything else. When people see young black males on TV, they're getting killed. So it's dangerous to associate black men with death, because when you turn on your TV, that's exactly what you're seeing. I hope that we can get a prosecution out of this, because nothing's going to change unless they make an example out of somebody. They have to prosecute somebody, or this is just going to keep going on. I mean, it's just like with anything. If a 5-year-old keeps taking a cookie out the cookie jar and never gets caught, then he's going to keep doing it. regardless of how uh, bad cookies are for your health. I mean, you're just going to keep doing it until you actually get caught and there's some actual consequences. Consequences influence people's actions. And when you don't see any consequences, you don't see any change. So I think that's what people are demanding here. They're demanding some kind of consequence. And of course, in the last, I don't know, 400 or 500 years, we haven't seen any consequences for whites murdering us in cold blood, especially police officers. So my whole take is on it is, how is it that, you have a group of people who run the government, control the money, the politics, and at the same time, they get away with killing people in the middle of the street and going home to dinner that night. I think it's because of that reason, to be honest. For that very reason, they control the government, they control politics, they police themselves. And when you police yourselves, of course, there are going to be no consequences. The police work with the prosecutors work with the judges work with the grand jury. They're all on the same team. So I think what needs to happen is there need to be an independent investigation when these things happen. Now, they always bring in the Department of Justice, uh, which is the federal government, to investigate these things, which I think is a good thing. But at the same time, a lot of times law enforcement still looks out for each other, whether it's on the local, state, or federal level. So I still don't know how much we can trust that. I wouldn't be surprised if they come back and say there was not enough evidence to bring them to trial, just like in the Eric Garner case. Remember, they didn't say there wasn't enough evidence to prosecute. They said there wasn't even enough evidence to even bring charges against them in the Eric Garner case. So I guess somebody getting choked out on video is enough evidence. How much evidence do you need? So that whole evidence argument, I don't buy it, because whenever it's a black man that pulls the trigger, there's hardly no evidence needed. And that's enough to convict them. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of death row inmates right now on death row with no DNA evidence against them. So I don't want to hear that there's not enough evidence. It's only not enough evidence when the person is non-black. If the person is black, there's more than enough evidence. So we'll see what happens. I'm still skeptical, but I stay a little optimistic, because I think what's going to happen, well, I hope what's going to happen, is that we're going to eventually wake up as a people, and we're going to be forced to wake up. And it may take some tragic things to happen to us for us to wake up. I hate to say, but what else would wake us up besides horrific tragedies like this that we just keep seeing over and over and over again? And eventually we get tired of it and we decide to come together as a people. Because as long as we're dependent on others, we're going to keep seeing the same cycle over and over again. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. Our problems are not political. Our problems are economic. And until we can get a grasp on that and make sure that we keep the money in our own community and spend the money with our own people, then we won't get any respect from anybody. So I just hope that his family can find some type of peace, because this guy was a son, he was a brother, he had a twin sister that went on the news talking about this. And again, it's the same sort of reality show that we keep seeing. And it's a shame, because we're always at the center of this thing. Whenever you talk about a cop shooting, it's always another unarmed black man. And I'm just tired of this thing happening and not seeing any consequences and nobody going to jail for it. So hopefully there'll be the same type of consequences it will be for anybody else. But we already know how the system works. The system doesn't work for everybody. The system only works for certain people. And really the system is not designed to work for everybody. That's why you can't just change laws, or you can't just give police more training and all this other stuff people have been talking about. You have to change the system. The system has to change from within. And until that happens, we're still working with the same thing. Because let's say this police officer gets convicted. It really doesn't matter because it's a culture. It's a culture of policing that does this. You can take one person out of the equation, but that doesn't change the culture of the entire police department. The whole system needs to change from the inside out. And how that will happen, or how long that will happen, how long it will take for that to happen, who knows? But that's what needs to be done, because one officer getting convicted is not going to solve the problem. There is a culture within the police department that says it is okay to pull the trigger when the suspect is a black male, a young black male. They pretty much give you the green light to do that. And this is within the whole system of policing, period. It's not just particular police departments, it's police in general. This is the system, this is the culture in which they live, this is the code they go by. So until we can break that, then we're going to keep seeing the same thing, regardless of what happens to this officer. So I just hope that some kind of change comes out of this. But in the meantime, I think that we need to remain vigilant, and we need to tune out and weed out some of the coons that's going to come out speaking against Terance Crutcher, and it's going to, defend what this cop did and say that, well, we need to come together and we need to all be one people and try to love everybody and all this other crap and all this other nonsense that has nothing to do with uplifting our people. A lot of black men who are, a lot of entertainers and pro athletes come out saying this mess because they've been disconnected and detached from their community so long, they don't even know what's going on. They don't even know how it feels anymore. We need to sort of weed them out, because right now they're in our way. They're a roadblock right now. They're the stumbling block that's in our way as far as trying to become independent, so that we won't have to depend on others for resources. If we can keep resources in our own communities, then we can police ourselves, and that would be much better. That's actually what policing is meant to be. It's supposed to be people in their own community policing themselves. You don't have people from outside the community coming into your community because they don't know your community. They don't know the people there. They don't know how people live. They don't know what people are going through. They don't know the schools you go to, the PTO meetings you go to, the church you go to, the job you work at. They don't know anything about you, so that's why they don't care. And until we can see the reality, then we can expect this to keep happening. I know we want to live in harmony with everybody, but at some point you got to realize that living in harmony sometimes even comes with a price. And it comes with sacrifice, and it comes from having to give something up. And we're at that point now where we have to make a decision. We have to make a decision. Are we going to actually deal with the reality in front of us that faces us and lets us know who our real enemy is? Or are we going to still continue to live under the illusion that we can just arbitrarily and automatically get past this? I don't think so. So until then, we'll see what happens with this. And I'm sure I'll be back on here soon talking about something else like this. My next video, I hope, is not about this. Another unarmed black man being killed, but who knows? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. An unarmed black man is killed damn near every day in America. So we don't want to have to keep talking about this without people actually, coming together and making plans to for us to unite within our own selves, not unite with others, but unite with each other. We have to unite amongst ourselves first. We can't go trying to mingle in other people's societies, just like we're doing now, trying to integrate, thinking that we're going to get the same rights. That's not going to happen. We have to come amongst ourselves and get our own house in order. And that's the only way people are going to respect us. So until then, I'll see you next time. Post your comments. Let me know what you think. Peace.